Hello again. I was just finishing cooking some tasty and harmless poison mochi. Would you like to try one? Today we are going to explain all about the latest Pokemon content, talking about the new mythical Pokemon, Pecharunt. And the story itself of this epilogue of the Scarlet and Purple DLCs would begin, in my opinion, in a somewhat peculiar way. We would return to our home in the region of Paldea after receiving in a mysterious gift this super unique, special and original Pecha Berry, with which we can summon or awaken Pecharunt, a secret Pokemon, which we will talk about soon. After reuniting with the cast of original friends, there would be different scenes, a bit childish in my opinion, which in the end will also be the main essence of this epilogue, where we really can't take absolutely nothing seriously. Nemona continues to be a real combat freak, Arvent also dropping a couple of little jokes about how his parents didn't love him and are now dead. Arven, please give me a hug, I love you. And discovering that Penny, according to a phone call with her father, we can link her in the same family tree as Peony, one of the main characters of the Pokemon Sword and Shield DLCs. After this beginning, Kieran, that devilish boy who ends up being our friend, would invite us to return to Kitikami to gather the gangs of friends and have an incredible time, something that obviously was not going to happen. For discovering that something is wrong in this village, we will discover that Carmine, Kieran's sister, is possessed, doing one of the strangest and hypnotic dances of the saga, leading us directly to the new Pokemon that would be behind all this. Breaking down and analyzing Pecharunt, this creature is a paradox itself, not because it is a paradox Pokemon, but because it is a peach in the Pokemon world possessing the poison type, having to use a peach-based berry itself to wake it up, which would cure the poisoning itself. Quite a paradox. One in I don't know how many billions would allow us to get to summon Pecharunt, so here we can also interpret that Pecharunt is not a unique creature. And adding the other theory that we had some time ago under my point of view and criteria, what a coincidence that Glimmora, a Pokemon so important in this game, is not a unique creature. In this game with so much mysticism that it is in the hands even of the champion of the Pokemon League, you possess in so many characteristic features in common between Pecharunt and Glimmora, by a following of poison type related to flowers, fruits and that as well. Past the end of the DLC of Pokemon Scarlet and Purple, in the own Area 0, we could only find Glimmora and Carbink. Creatures that, as you well know, are of the only species that can undergo a mutation and become to mythical Pokemon, as is the case of Carvink with Diancie, and what is in my opinion, and I can interpret with that Glimmora could mutate every, I don't know how many attempts with this Pecharunt. Having to talk about the legend of Momotaro itself that has finally been completed to the fullest. As we have commented in previous videos, this legend tells us the adventure of a young adventurer born from a peach. This hero would recruit a dog, a faison and a monkey, which we are going to link with the Competrons, and thanks to some Mokis that would give them powers, they would face different ogres in an unparalleled adventure. On this occasion and in the Pokemon world, the ogre, Ogerpon, would be the good guy. Curiously, if we showed this Pokemon next to Pecharunt or Loyal 3, it would react in a very curious way. So in the very design of this Pecharunt, with that ribbon in its fur and those two ways in which it could be opened, not only can we relate it to the toxic chains, as we have said before, with which it would possess and chain the Loyal 3, but it would be a clear reference to Momotaro himself, child born of the peach, with his ribbon, garments and so on. All the poison type also in Pecharunt must be explained of a very relative thing to the peaches, and it is that, as it happens in the own design of this creature, when being in the center, the stone of this fruit itself would possess a substance called amygdalin, which would be very relativized to poisons such as cyanide. The very type ghost of this creature, I believe that we can relate it with the own legend and myth related to the own trio of evil Pokemon, which had died, and as a ghost creature that is behind everything, or that possibility of poisoning and killing people. I think that also the ghost type can be a great counterpart of all that vitality towards the Tree of Life that, as we have already explained in previous videos, in Scarlet and Purple, we can see great representations of this. In the Pokédex description of this creature, it is said that it makes its target eat this toxic mochi to bring out its full potential and ambition, and then control it with its chains. It is curious that practically the whole village of Kitimami has been possessed except the young Kieran, which, according to community theories, everything pointed to the fact that he was possessed. I interpret all this as a manipulation towards us, playing with our expectations. Regarding the ghost type, we can interpret things that many remind you of Spiritomb, like the 88 for following the different stats of Pecharunt, not only reminding us as a form of these numbers to the own chains of the Pokemon, but it is usually very relativized with the search of your goals, ambition and self-improvement. Something that, in the end, has been the undoing of many of these characters. Characters in the game, although in different cultures it could also be interpreted as the karmic number, something that curiously we can relate to Kieran, About my opinion of the content, I didn't dislike it, but I expected more. It didn't cost so much a scene where all those who have suffered the manipulation of Pecharunt face him at the end. Undoubtedly, these games have given us very good moments, but if I'm honest, I feel they could have gone deeper into many stories and characters. But instead, you have a final scene where if we remove all the battles that lengthen a little this epilogue, honestly, we would be left with a short story that I think many will agree that does not solve us, and solves many unknowns of Pokémon Scarlet and Purple. So it's time for you to leave me your honest opinion below in the comments. I would really appreciate it if you like this video to support my work and subscribe.